Hey guys, welcome back to Cody Tarot. I'm your tarot reader, Cody. So today is going to be another celebrity prediction, relationship prediction, pick a card. Well, I guess they're not pick a cards, right? They're just one reading. So today is just like a celebrity relationship prediction tarot reading. We're going to be doing how will this connection play out, and we're going to be doing Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson. I'm really excited for this couple. And once again, I don't know much about celebrities, but I like reading for people. And so I figured I'd read for these celebrities and show you guys, and we can kind of get a glimpse into their life. Remember, these readings are speculative and for entertainment purposes only. So keep that in mind as we go, but let's get into it. Okay, so I'm going to draw a animal oracle card for Kim Kardashian. We have raccoon. Now and then Pete Davidson, we have crocodile. Let's see if those cards are in the shot. Okay. Then I'm going to pull a Wisdom of the Oracle card to get their general story or their relationship story that they have. Regeneration. That can be a powerful card. I'm going to pull tarot cards and we're going to see what that is representing in a second. Okay, I think that's actually 5 cards. Actually, I need 6. Let's see, where will the 6th card go? Okay, so I want to put it right here. Let's see, I think all of these are in the shot. I'm gonna pull little love messages, whispers of love cards for like how they love each other. But we're kind of getting some of that in the cards. So let's get into this. Let's flip over this card. Okay, let's get into the reading. Part of me is a little confused by this crocodile card, but as I keep reading, I think the answers will come to me. So let's start over with Kim's card, the raccoon. Well, first, let's point out the elements. We have earth over here and water over here in the crocodile card. So there is a nice sense of them complementing each other, basically. There's something about Kim being more of a earthy, grounded, more practical person, where Pete Davidson's more of like an intuitive, kind of like imaginative type of person. It's interesting too, because we have a raccoon and a crocodile on one hand with Pete, and then a raccoon with where Kim is. So I definitely see that Pete is definitely more the aggressor in the relationship. He's definitely more the one who kind of makes the moves. It's funny because I was trying to read up a little bit about them before this started, and I read somewhere that Pete is actually the one who asked her out or something, or got her number, or gave him his number or something like that. Anyway, I definitely see that Pete is definitely the aggressor. He's the more assertive one. He's kind of the one building the connection. And I definitely see Kim, interestingly enough, taking more of a back seat. Raccoon is a person who is grounded yet sensitive. So there's also something about hiding in the shadows that I think that Kim it's funny because she is a celebrity, right? But I definitely see with this raccoon person, there's a certain amount of shyness or kind of wanting to keep out of the public eye that is kind of a focus here, or something that's on the back burner, or something that's kind of like going on with her right now. Raccoon can also talk about going into the shadowy depths of the soul, in a sense, and kind of finding your artistic skill or your artistic talent, or something about some kind of secret artistic ability. So there could be something here where there's kind of like this raccoon with her shadow side is kind of getting kind of reflected onto this Pete Davidson person with the crocodile. So there is kind of a connection here where like her shadow is kind of like Pete Davidson's personality. So we do have that kind of shadow attraction here. With this crocodile, it's funny. I see these eyes very, very hungry. So I definitely think that Pete definitely really finds Kim attractive, is really into her. And crocodiles are very patient, right? They lie in wait, they lie in the water, and then all of a sudden they make their move with like power and force and determination, and they get their prey basically, and they take them down, because crocodiles are like one of the strongest animals like on the planet. So definitely with this, also with this being a watery intuitive card, this is kind of reminding me a little bit of kind of like something about the, kind of like we have the Knight of Swords here on Kim's side, but this is kind of reminding me of the Knight of Swords in a way, mixed in with the King of Cups, or Knight of Cups. So there is this kind of element where he kind of was waiting for his move, right? Like he already knew ahead of time that he wanted her. And so he was just kind of waiting for his move. And he kind of made the move at the right time, basically. Now, when they first met in their recent past, or kind of when they first met each other, there's something about Pete coming out of kind of a period of kind of like restriction, where he kind of put bounds and restrictions on himself, and he kind of cut those ties and became free of those ties. He may have even had issues with his identity or his body image. And something about that, he kind of broke free from that and kind of got out of that mindset and into a more free mindset. With he kind of got out of the victim mentality and started like making waves in his life. And so he was kind of having this period of confidence here. And when he met Kim, right, in the recent past, when they kind of were together, kind of like where they both were when they met each other, with Nine of Wands here, Kim was kind of like feeling frustrated with her kind of like place in a particular situation, or having to constantly put up barriers and defenses against the outside world. She wanted something that was less like, how do I put this? She didn't want to have to put up so much fight, so much resistance, right? It's almost like she knew that she was like almost to the finish line, or almost to a point of completion, but she didn't want to quite make that final leap. She kind of wanted to just take a step back and kind of be in a position where she was maybe more independent, but at the same time more kind of relaxed, have more like of an ease kind of going on, where she didn't have to put up as many boundaries or fight off people as much. Definitely as they progress and into the near future, there are some things showing up here with the Six of Wands. The Six of Wands in Pete Davidson section, there is something about him losing a little bit of fame or stepping out of the limelight. Something about accomplishment is coming through here, and him kind of taking, not a backseat, but just kind of like getting a little more complacent as far as like his career goes. Like you might not be seeing him as much in the public eye, especially with Six of Wands. This card is all about the public eye. And so in reverse, I'm just seeing something about stepping down from that position, kind of like taking off some of your, taking a break from your responsibilities as a public figure. I definitely see him kind of relaxing into a more intimate kind of thing. With Kim, it's interesting with the Knight of Swords here. I definitely see her becoming more aggressive as this relationship continues. Like, for example, Pete kind of was the one who made the move. He initiated. He was the kind of one that, he's the crocodile, right? He's the strong one. He's the one that was thrashing around, kind of waiting for his prey, right? And Kim was kind of playing the coy, hidden one, kind of the one that's kind of like hidden in the shadows, knowing that this is kind of like her shadow, or some part of her that she kind of doesn't deal with on the regular, but it's still kind of this part of her that's like, in a way, something she deals with in her more darker moments, but Pete is more of like a brighter version of that. Now with the Knight of Swords in the coming future, Kim is going to take on a more confrontational approach in the connection. So we might see some situations where they might have maybe some fights. It's either some fights, or she's taking on a confrontational approach. And if it's better directed, it'll be directed to activities outside of herself. So you might see her taking on a more active role, a more go-getter type of attitude. And she might become more of the huntress here, and Pete Davidson might kind of become more of the one who's kind of being hunted. I see this guy right here with the crossbow, and it's almost like he's sprinting, right? So she's picking up speed, basically. Kim's picking up speed, and her energy is kind of, usually with the Knight of Swords, it's like the energy can get the best of you, basically, because the Knight's running and the Knight's charging, but the horse is like scared to death, right? So it's like, on one hand, you're going full force ahead, but on the other hand, you're kind of like going too fast for the comforts of everyone else. So I definitely see Kim going a little quickly with something in the near future. And then as far as like with the regeneration card, I want to point this out too. I'm going to get back to this regeneration card right before, I'm going to finish up with the tarot cards and I'll get back into this regeneration card. So in the far future, or kind of like the end of the connection, or when the connection finally settles and they really both of them kind of know each other very well, I definitely see that Pete definitely feels like a super intense and crazy amount of self-esteem, and like he feels better than he's probably ever has in his life. It's interesting, this fame, taking a break away from fame, I almost thought it was like his self-esteem or something about him feeling not as good about himself. But the Six of Wands is specifically talking about the public eye. And so him taking a backseat in the public eye and more like focusing on his self and his self-worth. So definitely when the connection progresses, there's something about him having a really high and strong sense of self-worth. We see this again with the regeneration card. There's this element here where Pete kind of has this like sense of beauty about him. Like it's almost like he's kind of abundant now because he has this kind of confidence that he didn't have before. And so what I'm seeing here too is with Kim, it's interesting because Kim, on the other hand, we have the Death card. And the Death card is about letting go of things and closing a chapter and starting a new one. Kim might, on the other hand, be in a place where she wants to leave this connection and start a new connection with someone else, or leave this chapter and start a new chapter. Like I said, it all depends on her. As I'm seeing it right now, it looks as if she wants to leave the relationship or at least take a break from the relationship. Like I said, these are further down the future, further down the line. So this might be something that we can't really see right away. We might see a lot of like really beneficial things between both of them. The fact that they're both really in love, really together with each other, and kind of almost like, it might seem like one of those connections where it seems really good for a period of time, but then at one point, Kim might want to take a step back or take a step away. She could either do this by remaining in the connection, because I definitely see Pete Davidson as like fully in the connection. You know, it's kind of Kim who might end up leaving him, basically, if she does. But with the Death card, this can also transition a new cycle into a connection. So even after they take a break or after they take a separation, it's just that Kim doesn't feel as attached to Pete anymore in the far future. So even after they take a separation, they could come back together. And that's a possibility with the regeneration card, because with the regeneration card, it's talking about like the fact that it's like almost like this fountain, right? Like, and it's like two people who are in a hot desert and they finally find each other, and each one of them is like a big giant glass of water for the other one. So regeneration is also about finding that growth in a kind of hostile landscape. If you look at this tree, it's growing where there's this lava, right? And so it's almost like this tree almost couldn't grow, but with the correct amount of sunlight and stuff, it's basically taking a beautiful next step in both of their lives. There's just something very regenerative about this connection. I definitely see it lasting a pretty long time. I definitely see it lasting longer than Kim's other relationships. But it's interesting, Kim does want to move on, or in the future, when they're like both more settled into each other, she's the one who's ready to move on, to try something different, to try something new. So it just depends on where she's at in her life, if she's wants to try something new with another partner, or if she's moving on to try something new with a different activity or a different thing in her career or something like that. It's funny, even the physicality of these cards too, like raccoon, like you can't even see his eyes. And I don't know why I think of Kim when I think of this raccoon, like because Pete Davidson's eyes are like so big and spherical, and I definitely see this kind of like crocodile vibe for his eyes too. So it's funny how the animals can actually mirror some of their physical characteristics. The beautiful thing about this is they're definitely beneficial and they help each other out. Almost like a married couple who's been together for so long, they just know what duties to handle. Like one person knows, okay, I'm doing this thing and that's what I'm doing. And this person's like, I'm doing this thing. So with that water and earth, it's definitely a really compatible relationship, although they're very opposite. Like I said, Pete represents a part of Kim's shadow that she doesn't want to face too often. But the beautiful thing about this is Pete is like a version of that shadow that is kind of compatible with her, if that makes sense. So he can kind of help her through those shadowy aspects. But interestingly enough, it's more so that she helps him through a lot of stuff, right? He comes out of this connection with a super strong sense of self-esteem. I even want to think that even if they do end their relationship, I don't think there'll be hard feelings, because on one hand, Kim's just kind of ready to move on. She's ready for the next thing. And Pete, on the other hand, just has this great, amazing sense of self-esteem and sense of self-care and self-respect for himself that he didn't have before, that this connection brought him. There's something catalytic about this connection for both of them. Okay, let's get into the Whispers of Love cards for both of them. So how does Kim show love to Pete? And how does Pete show love to Kim? Wow, this is so beautiful. Their connection is actually really, really amazing. I'm glad they found each other. Yeah, it's interesting because even though Pete takes on a more active role in the beginning of the connection as far as like courting her goes, and basically kind of providing that sense of strength in that kind of like initial phase, Pete's like path in this area is this: be authentic, be real and true to who you are and how you feel. Pete's path in this connection and with her, and what he needs to kind of learn again and again with her, is to be his real self, be his real true self. Really truly express how he feels, whatever those feelings may be. I definitely see that he broke out of this victim mentality, and part of that could be holding back certain feelings and holding back from expressing those feelings. Once again, pointing back to the crocodile, how he lies in wait and then makes his move. He could have been holding back his true self, waiting for that correct time to make his move to reveal who he truly is. And he kind of reveals who he truly is in this connection. Kim, interestingly enough, it says actions speak loudly, express your love through actions. I definitely see her in the upcoming future taking more of an action kind of approach to Pete. Kind of maybe taking care of certain things in the relationship or the connection that are more of a practical focus or practical nature. It's funny because this woman is actually flying on a hawk. And this Nine of Swords card also has a bird on it. I'm definitely seeing Kim kind of takes flight in this connection. I mean, I don't know how action focused Kim is in her regular life, but I definitely see her becoming more of an active type of person in this connection. She definitely gets a little bit more of a boost of energy, and she feels a little more free in herself, right? I feel like in previous relationships, she probably felt more tied down. The fact that we have two bird creatures here, she probably felt a little more tied down, a little more trapped, a little more confined. And with Pete, she feels free to fly. Like she can do whatever she needs to. And basically she has the energy and the freedom to fly and do what she needs to do. I definitely see with this Knight of Swords, it's really picking up steam and giving her a lot of energy. It's possible though that it might be a little too much for her at some point, and she might actually get into some periods where she has almost too much energy and she's too involved in certain things. And it could just be because she was so opposite of one end, you know, with this boundary card kind of always having to defend herself and not having that space and freedom. In this connection, she gets that freedom. So she's becoming a little more action oriented, and it could border on being a little confrontational is what I'm seeing, just because she gets so much freedom and so much space. I don't see that bothering Pete too much. I definitely see that, like with the Six of Wands, he's more focused on himself, more focused on retreating from the public eye, being authentic, being true, and really like he's on this path for like higher self-esteem. I definitely think he'll probably still do certain things in the public eye, but it's almost like they're begrudging things or something like that. Like it's almost like he'll do things here and there, but he won't be like as active as he once was, basically. Yeah, regeneration is just a really beneficial card for this connection. I mean, it just shows that they really regenerate each other. There's something about renewing and freshness with the connection. And it's interesting, Kim can be committed and free at the same time with him. That's what makes me think that even if she leaves with this death card, there might be like an open door policy where she's allowed to come back and they could get married later in life. But I definitely see in the far future, like this kind of these two cards represent kind of like the recent upcoming future. These cards represent more of a further future or towards the end or the kind of like final point of their connection. There's something about Pete just being like having such a high amount of confidence at this point. And also with her, there's just this thing of like kind of wanting to start the next chapter of her life. What a cool and very interesting connection. I hope you guys enjoyed this reading. I really enjoyed reading for you guys. Thank you for watching. If you really like this reading, like or comment below, especially comment if you liked it so I can see how many people like these celebrity readings and if I should keep doing them. And also subscribe if you haven't already. I have other videos on the channel too, pick a cards and stuff where you pick a crystal and you go to your pile and stuff like that. So those are more personal and those are tailored to you. And I also offer personal readings for people who want a very personal approach where I send you kind of a unlisted YouTube video link up with your reading. And it's just tailored specifically to you and your life and everything like that. So with that said, I really enjoyed reading for you guys. Thank you for letting me do these readings. This is really fun. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye.